start first. The agenda's on the front of the sheet and the minutes from last meeting are on the rear. With that, we'll call the meeting to order. Okay, pledge of allegiance. May stand, please. Ready? Begin. Thank you. Okay, Madam Secretary, roll call. Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Okay. I don't do a roll call till you
I'm
swear
sorry,
in this
yes,
member
I
over
forgot
here.
that. I'm so used to just going through that. We're going to do swear our Michelle Myers from Pioneer Town. Let me get the verbiage here. Is your microphone working, Michelle? Okay.
Is that what, yeah.
Okay, if you raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, say your name,
I, Michelle S. Myers,
do solemnly or affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign or domestic,
against all enemies, foreign or domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take these obligations freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Now I'll do roll call.
Yeah, well, please.
Pioneer Town, Michelle Myers. Yucca Mesa, Tom Ziegert. Absent. Excused. Landers, Dawn Johnson. Joshua Tree, Mark Lundquist.
Here.
Flamingo Heights, Lib Koenig. Desert Heights, Pat Flanagan. Wonder Valley, Teresa Seitz. Morongo Valley, Gail Swearit. Copper Mountain Mesa, Mary Helen Tuttle. Here.
Thank you, Mary Helen. Okay, adoption of agenda. Do I hear a second? All those in favor? Okay, so moved. Approval of January 18, 2017 minutes. Okay, no discussion? No, hearing approval. All those in favor? Okay. Okay, call for public comment. At this time, anyone may comment on items not on the agenda that are of interest to the public and within the jurisdiction of the MAC. The MAC is prohibited by law from taking action on matters not on the agenda. Comment may be offered on items on the agenda when those items come up for discussion or action. A limit of 3 comments per item and 3 minutes per comment may be imposed. In all cases, if you wish to speak, please submit a registration card to the secretary and proceed to the podium when recognized by the chair. Speakers should address the MAC as a whole. Comments to individual delegates and/or staff are not appropriate at this time. Okay, first up is George Kopp. Did you slip that on top, George? All right. We would have gotten to you anyway. Go ahead.
Now it is. I think. You can all hear me anyway.
So it has to go through that. So,
Bob, can you hear him on the
No.
podium mic?
I hope my 3 minutes hasn't started.
Oh, but it will.
And go? Thank you. It's a privilege to be first. I'm very happy to be here tonight with a representative from Caltrans who I haven't met. I don't know who she is. But I would like to start my remarks by saying here we are again, because I've been living in Joshua Tree full-time for 10 years now. Bought my property in 2003, so that would be a little longer. Live up in Copper Mountain Mesa area. When I moved here full-time in 2007, I was asked to join the Joshua Tree Chamber of Commerce because I had a business downtown. And I did. I was on the board of the chamber, and then I became president of the chamber for many years. And what I would like to talk about tonight is, as I said on my card that I slipped on top, economic development in downtown Joshua Tree. I want to talk about jobs. Everybody's talking about jobs. I've been talking about jobs in Joshua Tree for years. People have been saying the Joshua Tree is against development, that we're against growth. And as president of the chamber, as a member of the chamber board, and as a business owner, as a private citizen now, I have a business now, a vacation rental. Jobs. We have great potential here. We've seen the potential over the years with the national park visitorship, all of these things. It's huge. And what is holding us back in terms of growth? Infrastructure downtown. We can't develop downtown. And one of the reasons we can't develop downtown, one of the reasons why businesses are not as great, thank you, as they should be downtown, is because pedestrians cannot cross the street. I will say it again. In 2009, I came before the old MAC, and they passed a resolution that I had written as president of the chamber unanimously, calling for a traffic signal at Sunset, because people can't cross the street, and the north side of the street is not developed. Why can't we get a traffic signal? Because Caltrans and the county have stood in the way for all these years. So here we are again, a representative of Caltrans again is here. The MAC is again here. I looked through my computer today. We have correspondence going back to Hansberger. We have Hansberger, we have Derry, we have Ramos. We have you, Mark, as now our field rep for Ramos. I've made my point. Thank you very much. Traffic signal at Sunset.
Thank you, George, I think. Jet Tucker.
Well, I wrote out my remarks before. I wrote out my remarks before George got up here, and mine start out with, I am here once again to address pedestrian safety in Joshua Tree. We could benefit from a permanent speed display sign, especially on the west side of Joshua Tree. It really helps when the temporary one is out there. A signal or even a lighted crosswalk on Highway 62 and Sunset. You can't get across the highway there, it's a mess. Another thing, the law enforcement needs to follow the speed limit. They often blow by when I slow down to 45 and everybody behind me follows suit. If they're heading to an emergency, turn on your lights because everybody just assumes that's the speed limit. Los Angeles, I heard on NPR, is looking at lowering speeds to help lower their traffic and pedestrian death toll, which is one of the highest in the nation, I hear. We could also benefit from lowering our speed limit through town. And neighboring 29 Palms has a 35-mile-per-hour speed limit. We shouldn't just stand by and let people continue to die downtown. Thank you.
Okay, Dawn Davis.
I'm Dawn Davis. I'm Dawn Davis, and this is my first time speaking about pedestrian fatalities on Highway 62 because I'm a recent resident. So as you may be aware, there have been some pedestrian fatalities recently on Highway 62 in downtown Joshua Tree. Though most of our residents are aware of the dangers of Highway 62, as our tourist traffic continues to increase, the number of drivers and pedestrians visiting are probably unaware. I'm sure many of us can attest to the number of folks darting across Highway 62 or even Park Boulevard during the week or during holidays when the park is busy. And yes, at the end of the day, personal responsibility does play a role, but I think many of us agree some changes need to be made relative to additional lighted crosswalks and further reduction of the speed limit throughout downtown Joshua Tree. I appreciate Caltrans being here this evening, though for other reasons, but hope they will take this request into consideration and that our field rep to our Board of Supervisors will also bring this concern to them in the hopes that they will coordinate with Caltrans in the implementation of speed limit reduction and additional crosswalks, lighted or otherwise, and signage. Thank you.
Thank you. John Stevens.
I'm not even gonna go up there, pedestrian safety on 362 and the traffic study.
That's it?
That's it.
Thank you, John.
It's already been said more
Okay.
eloquently than I could. People are dying out there, and it's their fault, but you can make it a little harder for them.
Thank you. Celeste Doyle.
Okay, anyways, I would like to also address traffic safety and pedestrian safety. We have talked with the county about a bunch of different solutions in the downtown district in terms of connectivity, pedestrian safety, bicycle safety, just making it a better circular padding so that what Mr. Kopp talked about, jobs are more easily come about, and it's easier for pedestrians and other people to get back and forth across the highway. One area that we have especially looked at is, as other people have mentioned, is Sunset and Highway 62. We would really like to at least start with a crosswalk, but that whole intersection needs to be looked at carefully with Caltrans and Public Works. You guys all need to come to the table and talk with us and coordinate with us about how to make that place better, more safe, more accessible, more friendly to our downtown business and economic future. There is grant money available, federal money, state money, county money, private nonprofit money, but none of it is going to be available to us until we can propose an actual project. And we can't do that without the help and the coordination of Caltrans and Public Works. And so far, we really haven't had much luck in getting that. We would really like to be able to do that. The last thing that I would like to say is the chair of the MAC is also the field representative for Supervisor Ramos, and sometimes it's unclear which hat he's wearing when he speaks, and I would just like to ask that person to be more clear when he's speaking on behalf of the supervisor or when he's speaking as the chair of the MAC. Thank you.
Okay, next speaker, Judith Lynn LaFoon.
It's on. Okay, Judith Lynn LaFoon. I'm speaking about pedestrian fatalities throughout the Morongo Basin. They don't just happen in Joshua Tree, they happen in Yucca Valley, they happen in Morongo Valley, they happen in 29 Palms, they happen in Joshua Tree, they happen everywhere. And while I agree it would be nice if we had signals, this is where you come to visit and stop for the signals. Is that what they say? Or that Chucka Valley? Bottom line, as we agreed, it's a pedestrian problem, and that they shouldn't be crossing. And at sunset, I don't understand why people are crossing at sunset to get across to where Natural Sisters and people are. What are they crossing from? I don't know what's across the street for them to want to cross there. I'm not sure. I think that we need to look to see what Caltrans has to suggest tonight. They might have some good solutions as to what's going on with the parking and slowing down traffic, but we need to remain open-minded and see if we can approach it from both sides, both for pedestrians and the traffic and the community throughout the Morongo Basin, not just Joshua Tree. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that concludes our speakers. We'll go on to item H, public safety. Have anybody from county fire? No, I don't see anybody. Oh, Mike, there you are. Mike Snow. There you are. You blended in back there, Mike. Oh, do we have one more comment? Excuse me, Mike. We got a latecomer here that forgot his sheet. Buckley. Go ahead. That's the second time you've been late, Buck.
You gonna speak before me? I don't know.
Yeah.
You guys wanna let him go before me?
Yeah, go ahead.
You can go behind you.
Sorry. Just thoughts of lifting to everybody about infrastructure and safety on the highway. We have been talking about this a long time. I thought about gorilla petting crosswalks myself and putting up signs that the citizenry of Joshua prefer 35 miles an hour underneath a 45-mile-an-hour sign. It doesn't seem that we can get anywhere with Caltrans or the county or the state. And, our neighbors are 35 and 45. I mean, all through Yucca Valley, big giant city, it's 40, which I find interesting that we're still 45. We should at least be able to put an island out there at sunset that you can get to safety on. That used to be here a long time ago because it's such a wide area. I have personally picked up 3 people that have been hit by cars, 2 have been killed during our walk and different times in town. I don't think it's something we want to continue. But being a vacation rental owner, realizing that our population's growing, realizing that the county thinks we're going to go to 15,000, 20,000 people, I think we got to move way beyond just crosswalks. We need bike lanes. We need all kinds of things when we're working on these issues. We're way, way beyond just a crosswalk at sunset at this point. And that's what I want to say. We need to really get on infrastructure. Buses, crosswalks, bicycle lanes, everything. With 2.5 million visitors, we need it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does that conclude the speakers now? Is that it? Okay, thank you. All right, Mike, you're up.
You're out of luck. I got the mic now. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the Oh, I got a minute left. Oh, good. Members of the audience, good evening to you. Mike Snow with San Bernardino County Fire. Call stats for the month of January, and again with the Big Mac, we're including several communities. First up, we had Johnson Valley with a total of 6 responses. Joshua Tree, 101 responses. Wonder Valley, we had 21 responses. Landers with 39. Pioneer Town had 7 responses, and Yucca Mesa had 62. On the breakdown of those responses, vehicle fires, fires and outside rubbish fires in general accounted for 24 responses. False alarms were 4. Our medical responses, and that also includes traffic accidents, that was at 155 responses. Canceled en route calls, meaning that we get summoned for a call for assistance, but then get canceled going to it because they've decided to handle the situation in another means, were 26. calls for public assistance were 18, and then miscellaneous calls were at 19. So we had a total of 236 incidents for the month of January. What's everybody been thinking about this rain and the moisture, huh? Good stuff for the basin. Would like to get you folks to get your reminder out to your friends and family about crossing low-lying areas where we have the flood waters that typically come across the roads. We do have signs in various places that say, turn around, don't drown. There's a reason for that. And I'm sure you guys have seen the media releases on several incidents in the LA Basin where people get caught in their cars. And, you know, the sad fact of the matter is that water pressure is far greater than what we realize. It can move a vehicle very easily, causing you to become entrapped and, in worst cases, become a fatality. So we ask that you, you know, turn around, wait for those waters to recede, or find an alternate way through town to keep yourself safe. So with that, are there any questions from the board or the audience? Yes, sir.
Yeah, hi. I live up in Copper Mountain Mesa, and the roads up there are really in terrible condition, as I'm sure you know. I would like to know what effect, I mean, not just Copper Mountain Mesa, but all the areas where we have dirt roads, and especially you mentioned the rain. How does this affect your response time?
That can have a great effect on our response times, especially if those roads are washed out. We do not get pre-notification of those areas until we respond to an incident, and unfortunately we come across those situations, and that can greatly lead to our response times and having to find an alternate route into the area of the call. And as you know, there are a great number of roadways up here that are not maintained by the county.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Sir?
Is there any, have you made any representation to, like we have a special district or the county to report that you're having these problems?
There hasn't been any recent reporting on that, but it is certainly something that can be discussed and should be discussed. When we plot out our response areas, you know, paved roads obviously allow us a faster access into certain areas, whereas dirt roads do not, and greatly limit us as far as our speed and ability to get through those areas. So, of course, there are a lot of those roads that are privately maintained, and then there are some that are maintained by the county. What we need to do is we need to effect some type of public education announcement throughout the communities of the necessity to keep those roads in a maintained state of condition for those responses. So it is a public awareness issue, and something that we can certainly address throughout each of the communities and have that taken into consideration.
Do you have a suggestion on how wide your driveway should be to best accommodate a fire truck if they were going to come to your house?
It depends on the setback of the residence as to whether or not we need to get into a driveway. We prefer not to take our apparatus up into private homes on their driveways for the sake of damaging the driveway or causing a collapse of the concrete, or worse yet, have a fire engine sitting inside a septic tank. That's happened before in the past. So it really depends on the setback of the residence. If there is a residence that is back further than 150 feet from the access to the property, it would be a good idea for those residents to maybe pre-plan an access point for those vehicles to get a little closer.
And would they do that with their local fire department?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We're always willing and available to come out and do site surveys on the property and hopefully to identify a safer route into the residents to make that happen.
So does that information carry on over when you have new crews coming in? Will they have access to that information?
Well, as you know, County Fire is a very large organization, and we have a lot of fire stations to cover, so we do get a myriad of individuals that come through that may not necessarily be aware of the day-to-day operations here. So we, as the battalion chiefs, and then through our morning briefings and mail systems, try and make that information known to the people that are coming into those stations.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
The statistics that you gave at the very beginning, do you have a website where you could post that?
We don't.
Have access to it and have month by month, so we don't have little papers all at home with this and that. Is there one place to go?
Your trees are as good as our trees, right? No, I'm kidding. We don't normally post our monthly statistics anymore. We used to do that on the website, but given the size of the county, that's kind of gone by the wayside. But this information that we print up for the local is something that could be very easily shared with the MAC if they would be interested in posting that on their Facebook page. We could certainly make something like that available. So
Yes, sir. I was wondering if you had any notion, or if there was any way to find out increased vehicle maintenance costs for your agencies on these poorly maintained roads compared with, say, other parts of the county where things are in better shape?
It's kind of hard to specifically pinpoint the maintenance items directly to the status of the roadway.
Is it possible to at least compare costs?
We do have, through our vehicle support services, they do keep monthly statistics on the costs that are associated with our apparatus. So that's something that could be made available, or simply by, calling and talking to us at the office. It's information that we could look up for you.
Cool, thanks.
Yes, sir.
On the responses for these reports that come into emergency calls, do you have the information about what are the requests for seniors that have problems with medical problems, or if people that are on drugs that are overdosed? Do you have any information on that?
That's getting more specific into the realm of individual medical concerns, and a lot of that information is protected by law now as far as HIPAA requirements. We could probably break it down a little bit more as far as what type of medical calls they are, but we certainly wouldn't be able to share any information with regard to sex, age, addressing, or location to those calls because of the Privacy Act.
Okay, anybody else? If not, Mike, thanks. Appreciate it. Okay. Okay, I don't see anybody from Cal Fire CHP. Simon, are you presenting tonight? Sure. Thank you.
Good evening. I'll be quick. I know you guys want to hear from Caltrans, so I'll be brief. I'm Simon Miller. I'm the PIO for Morongo Basin CHP. I'll start with, just want to let you guys know, update, we had a Start Smart class in January. It's very successful. I think we had 8 or 9 youth that showed up along with parents, so that was the most I've had since doing this, which is good. It seems to be picking up as we progress. I'll be doing another one probably in March, so that's the plan. The Age Well class, I have had requests for it, and I will be doing one. I just don't know when yet because I can only do 2 a year. So I'll try to space those evenly, but they will be coming. I post announcements for that stuff on our Facebook as well as our Twitter accounts. So if you have Facebook or Twitter and you'd like to follow us or whatever it's called, I'm not real savvy with social media, but I'm getting there. Anyways, I will post it as events so that people will know about it, and I also give it to the radio and the newspaper so that I can get maximum coverage there and everybody can know that those things are coming. Or always feel free to call the office and ask, because I'm usually there. I know we were talking about people that are pedestrian safety and also driver safety, and you're aware of events that we've had recently with pedestrians. We also have had a few unusual fatalities involving motorcycles that have not been properly equipped with lighting equipment. So I know there's never an end to the off-road stuff because we do live in a community that makes that possible. But as the season comes back around and it starts to pick up, we do see more and more off-road vehicles off-highway and on-highway. So please always drive cautiously and be courteous and be aware and make sure that if you are using off-road vehicles, please stay where you're supposed to be and make sure that your vehicles are properly equipped and that you are sober, and things of that nature will greatly help reduce these kinds of occurrences. There was also, if you may have heard, an incident involving the King of the Hammers, which is another off-road event. It was not part of the sanctioned event itself, but there are a lot of off-road vehicles that are there, and this was an unfortunate incident where somebody was killed this year driving an off-road vehicle. So again, tell your friends, people that you know that do these things, please be cautious, know where you're going, and know that your vehicle is equipped properly to navigate off-road and things of that nature. I don't have much else, and I know that we want to get on with the meeting, so I will take questions of any kind. Yes?
Yes, sir. Is there still an off-road enforcement number to call, or?
There's not a different number to call. It's the same number for whatever your concerns are. If it's non-emergency, the non-emergency number. And if it is emergency, 911 will get you through. Yes, sir.
Do you know what the purpose was to widen 247 between Landers and Johnson Valley?
I don't know all the purposes. I know that paving shoulders is one way of alleviating rollover collisions, because vehicles that come off of a paved shoulder onto soft sand shoulders usually overcorrect in a panic and roll over. So having paved shoulders prevents that at least. Also rumble strips in case it was, a drowsy driver or something, that gives you a better chance of being able to correct your vehicle without having a serious disaster. As far as further development, I don't know if there's going to be further development to it. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
They're not making it a reason that they widen it to make it a 4-lane state highway?
No, not at this time. They're just paving shoulders up to prevent more serious collisions from happening. Anybody else? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Simon, appreciate it. Okay. And do I see Sergeant Garvin, is it here, from the Sheriff's Department?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Derek Garvin. I'm a sergeant with the Sheriff's Department out here locally, and go through just some of the highlights for our calls for January. Of some of our hotter topic type calls we get, starting with OHV complaints, broken down between Yucca Mesa Landers area. We had a total of 14 for Morongo Valley, 10 for Joshua Tree, 2 in unincorporated area of 29 Palms, and 3 in Wonder Valley for a total of 33 countywide. And also for the question you had about OHV complaints, just like Highway Patrol with the Sheriff's Department, it's, yeah, the best number for us is just the non-emergency dispatch number. That way a call for service is generated. We can track those calls, kind of see where trends are at, and if we need to do directed enforcement in an area, well, we can try and do that, but that's all, it's best handled through our regular dispatch number. So, category burglaries, had a total of 20 calls for the month. 3 in Landers, Yucca Mesa, 1 in Morongo Valley, 4 in Joshua Tree, 5 in northern 29 Palms, and 7 in the Wonder Valley area. And of those 20 calls, 12 generated crime reports. Stolen cars, grand theft auto, 3 in Yucca Mesa Landers, 3 in Morongo Valley, 3 calls in Joshua Tree, and no calls in 29 Palms or Wonder Valley area. The 9 total calls, 5 generated criminal reports. We have 1 rape report for the month that was in Joshua Tree area. 1 arson call in Joshua Tree area for the month. And then also 1 robbery, which was also in the Joshua Tree area. Nothing in any of those 3 categories in any of the other areas. That's about it for our calls.
Question, Teresa?
So you said 33 complaints on ORVs?
Correct.
Is that calls, reports?
That was a total of calls for service, 33 calls for service.
Did you make contact with any of the ORVs?
On the statistics that I have, I don't know how many of those calls resulted in contacts being made.
Okay, and so no citations, you wouldn't know about that either?
No, ma'am, those numbers I don't have with me.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
In the last couple of months, I've heard of several recoveries of where there's been search warrants and a lot of burglarized items have been returned to
Right.
to owners and all that. One of them was in the paper and the next one seems reported, but one from a month or more ago was not reported. I'm wondering why some of them are not reported, and if you could just tell a little bit more about that. My house has been burglarized, and so I'm kind of just sitting on the edge wondering maybe someday something will get recovered.
Right.
But then, they say, oh no, it's all, they identified the houses where it was taken from, and all those goods were just other houses, so.
Correct. Generally, in all the recent ones that we've had, this last month, we had one recovery that was good for about $40,000 worth of property that was recovered and returned to the owners. In all of our recent cases, all the property that we have located and found was tied to specific burglaries that we knew about. We haven't had any instances in the last couple of months where we were able to recover what we deemed suspected stolen property, but didn't know exactly who it went back to. Everything we've been able to recover was tied to a specific person that we were aware of. Oftentimes when we go out on those types of calls for recoveries where we know there's a likelihood of a large amount of property, we have information. We take information with us on all the burglaries that are holding. So we go out with a pretty good list of not just the specific one we might be investigating, but also any other open burglaries we have. And as we go through this property, we'll try and match it to the stack of other open burglaries we have, and that's usually the best way we can tie property back to individuals. But we haven't had any recently that, like I said, we just recovered a bunch and then have to put out and try and tie that property back to people. We just haven't had any of those.
Okay, well, I just want to thank you guys for doing a great job on that. They did recover maybe 10% of the stuff that was stolen from my burglary, so I was very happy for that.
Thank you.
Small amount and not having any hope at all of seeing that there might be something. So I really appreciate the work that's being done.
I wish we could have got a lot more.
Yeah, I know it's ongoing. So and then another question I have is about Citizens Patrol. I think there was some kind of training I saw that was announced that I don't know if it was for up here or where that would be. It seemed like a rather in-depth course, like a week-long thing, or
The Citizens Patrol Academy that we put on. Generally, if you're interested in a citizen on patrol, volunteer with our station, there's a lot of info. We have those units available in all, like how our area is kind of spread out in these different communities, we have citizen patrol units that volunteer all throughout the basin. Our department does put on trainings where, like, if we don't have enough people, new volunteers at our station, our volunteer forces division with the sheriff's department will put on, I think I want to say twice a year generally, they'll put together these citizen patrol academies, and they might not always be local up here, but it's the avenue that our volunteers go through to get trained up and be signed off as citizen patrol volunteers and allowed to go out in the vehicles and do what they do. So yeah, we're always looking for help with that. Our volunteer force is huge with our department. We couldn't do many of the things that we accomplish as the sheriff's department without our volunteers. They put thousands of hours in at our station locally throughout the year, and yeah, they're just tremendous. So we're always looking for help. If you have information on it, I would you can either call to the station. They'll put you in touch with somebody that is involved with the specific area you're interested in, or direct you to some of the general information if you're just curious and want to see what it's all about. But yes, sir.
The incident report that you have, when you mentioned Joshua Tree, is that Joshua Tree proper, or is that Joshua Tree, the whole community, which encompasses about 100 square miles?
Right.
All different panoramic heights, top of Mountain Mesa, Hidden Springs, Sun Fair.
Yeah, it's the entire community. They're for our Joshua Tree. My calls are broken down between Yucca Mesa Landers, Morongo Valley specifically. The Joshua Tree portion encompasses downtown, the Mesa area, but Sun Fair up on the Mesa. It's a pretty large area. And then the other areas we have the unincorporated areas, generally northern 29 Palms, and then east of in Wonder Valley. So the Joshua Tree portion is a pretty big area for us. Yes, sir.
There have been a couple instances of gunfire in the Section 6 area in Joint Park, just south of the county complex, something like that.
Right.
I called 911 to report it. And the dispatcher had trouble with not having an address to send a responding unit to, and I wasn't sure how to work out. Another one of my neighbors provided an address on the other side.
Okay.
And I don't know what happened, what the outcome was, but what would you advise me to do when we're hearing gunfire with rocks?
Yeah, generally, if it's out in an area like that, the easiest for our dispatchers to create a call and kind of orient the deputy where to go to would probably just be a street crossing. And for that area, maybe Park Boulevard in Onaga there would probably be a really good reference. And then, because our call takers are in a different area, they're not local, as are our dispatchers, so they may not always be very, extremely familiar with our area. A lot of our dispatchers are. They come out and ride. They go on ride-alongs with us and get acquainted with the area. But if we have one that's unfamiliar, yeah, best way would probably just be street intersections, and then our local guys from there would be able to orient off of that and know where you're talking about more often than not.
A little follow-up on the gunfire. Notice that there's been some shootings over there by the Bunker Hills, which is the northern part of Sun Fair, and also in the Dry Lake on weekends. What are the rules and regulations on target practicing in the unincorporated area?
Most of the areas out here, especially in the Joshua Tree area and incorporated areas, it's shotgun only. There's no rifle or pistol fire allowed anymore in any of those areas. So the areas that are legal to shoot, they're generally just shotgun areas only. So if somebody was shooting something other than that, then yeah, it's something that they could be in violation of.
So you should get reports if people are target practicing in these areas that shouldn't be.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
We'll take one more question. George?
Yeah, just to follow up on that, I hear automatic gunfire. I live, adjacent to that area, but I can't give any kind of, I don't know where it's coming from. I have an idea where it's coming from, but it seems to me like you're saying I really can't report it, that nobody's going to follow up on that. But it's clear to me that it's automatic gunfire, and you're saying that's illegal. It's probably on the BLM land, out past like Winfield and out that area where I live.
Right. And if you only gave your address and kind of a direction of travel from your place and like a callback number, deputies could call and get more information from you. Yeah, we could.
Realistically, what's the possibility that they're actually going to do anything?
Actually, it just depends on time of day, the call for service load, how many calls they have holding, and depending on the type of incident that gets reported, and calls are placed in different priorities.
Is there any initiative to go out and kind of enforce it? It's always Saturday, Sunday morning, and that's when people go out there and shoot their AR-17s or whatever that is.
Yeah. Absolutely. If you suspect that there's something going on that warrants law enforcement response, I would absolutely encourage you to call us. And sometimes the guys are tied up. Sometimes they're able to respond immediately. But yeah, it's definitely something worth investigating and sorting out whether they are legal or violating the ordinance on that, and depending on what the deputies find out, they'll take appropriate action. But yeah, I would always encourage you to, if there's something going on that you see, if you see something, I would always encourage that we get called and at least give our guys a chance to respond and sort it out rather than not call and we never get a chance to deal with it to begin with. So, yes, sir.
Now, Buck, can we move on? Or is it important? What is it?
I'm just trying to get a clarification on posting for trespassing.
Okay, last question.
No trespassing, posting, how far apart you're doing it on your property?
I'm not sure I understand.
Do you have signs for no trespassing when you have a parcel of property?
Okay, on your own property?
Right.
As far as a specific distance signs need to be posted, I'm not aware of any.
Okay, thank you, Sergeant. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
Okay, we'll move on to item I. The Caltrans report tonight, the presentation is going to be a two-pronged presentation, and I'm going to ask everybody to please hold their questions until the end of both presentations. Okay? From Caltrans, we have Asim Yaya and Philip Havens, and hiding in the back is Terry Kazinga. Is she back there? There she is. Oh, you coming up? Thank you. Philip, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. Good evening. My name is Philip Havens, Public Information Officer for District 8 here. 62, 247 are one of my assigned routes as a Public Information Officer. For my part, I'm here to introduce and announce the two-way left turn lane project. The limits for that project are about a quarter mile west of Torres Avenue to about 400 feet east of Lee Drive. For everyone who wasn't able to grab a commuter alert, there are some at the table, and we also did release this particular one today, so you can go to our website. You can also sign up on the website. If you have any trouble or technical difficulties, if you have an email address, just give us a call and I can email it to you at any time. So just to touch on a little bit of what the work will be done, typically from 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. There are authorizations for 24-hour lane closures, but one lane will remain open in each direction at all times. Mid-March is the time that we're looking at to begin, but of course that could shift depending on weather. Obviously with the rainy season, we've had some challenges with starting work, especially when it's raining twice, once or twice or 3 times a week. So basically the reason for this project is to address the higher than average collisions, crossover collisions. The data was pulled from, I think, a 4 or 5 year time period, and it hit on the higher than national average for the amount of vehicles that travel for the particular size of the highway. So in addition, for the two-way left turn lanes, the shoulders will be widened to a standard 8 feet. That's not a continuous 8-foot shoulder, but it will be widened to 8 feet where the two-way left turn lane are put in. So with that, I'll invite my Chief PIO, Terry Kasinga.
Thank you, Good evening, everyone. I think this is actually my first time out here at this MAC meeting. I've been to some down the hill a little ways, and I think I've been to some events out here, but never to the MAC. Thank you for having us here tonight. I'm going to give you just a short follow-up on the project that's going to be happening down in the Morongo Valley, Morongo Basin area where the channelizers are currently installed. That also is a safety project that's finally going to be starting. We met with the contractor last Monday, and they said they would like to start construction in April down in that section. So we will be meeting with the Morongo community. We will make sure that the press release gets circulated up in this area too, vetted out to the media and the radio station so that we can invite anybody who would like to come that might drive through that area during construction to that meeting with the community. It'll be at the school. So I'm working with Gail and Roxanne on getting that set up, and they actually were kind enough with the fire chief to come to the pre-construction meeting last Monday to sit and meet with the contractor and us to discuss what's going to be happening during construction, that type of thing. This project will be done pretty similar to the one that's going to be done up here in town. There will be lane closures sometimes during the daytime and night. The contractor's got a flexible schedule with that. There'll be one lane closed in each direction with one lane available for traffic. This job should be done, I'm hoping it's a pretty quick job. I would like to see it done probably by fall. So they'd like to get in and get the work done. This is for the raised curb median where the channelizers are at. It's very similar to what you see in Yucca Valley. And there'll also be a signal installed at Bella Vista. Thanks, Hytham. He included that in the project at the very end of it when we were designing it. So right now, I'm going to bring Hytham Yahya up here. He is our operations chief, and I think he has some good news for all of you. And we'd like to enter into a discussion tonight and hear your thoughts and comments.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Terry. Good evening, everybody. My name is Haysam Yahya. I'm the Office Chief for Traffic Operation in District 8, which is Compass, Riverside County, and San Bernardino County. First, I'm going to apologize for our PIO that she's never made it here. I've been here 5 times already. I don't know how I beat you to that. I don't know about that. Anyway, thank you for having me again here. And actually, I want to start with this. I want to thank Mr. Supervisor Ramos' office for contacting us earlier and give us some thoughts of what needs to be done on a stretch of Highway 62, especially around Joshua Trees. And last few times I've been here, I heard the same comments what I heard tonight. A lot of issues with the downtown Joshua Tree. Pedestrian issues, parking issues, speed. We've been talking about that over 4 or 5 years. I keep telling you.
10.
You're maybe more right than I do. I'm not saying no. I'm just saying for me being involved about 5 years in that issue.
I have emails from you from 10 years ago.
Oh, here we go. Thank you. All right, you proved me again. Okay. What I'm saying is.
I have a file that goes back 15. So
All right, good. And if you notice my.
Hey, let's let him
Okay.
give the presentation before we make comments. Thank you.
Thank you. And actually, as you noticed before, I keep asking you, we need the help of other agencies because this is mostly a local circulation. We operate and maintain the Highway 62, but we're talking about it. We're talking specifically only downtown Joshua Tree. We would like the help of the other agency, either the county or other entity. So what happened is after we got called from Mr. Ramos' office on, they have a group are making a bike lanes or consider for bike, and they were successful of getting an ATP, it was an active transportation program that gets you some money to do some bike enhancement on the corridor. You know what? I went back and I said, we need to do something to the community. It's enough. Yeah, 10 years, 15 years is a long time. We need to do something. We jump into it and we see. Well, I don't know if you guys can hear me without the microphone. I'm going to try to talk on here. If not, then I'll
If you could take that because it connects to the
Is it long enough? Can you move that easel over so he can, yeah.
Let's leave this one with the seat to show the area only. Okay, this is pretty much the downtown Joshua Tree, and I'm gonna identify the Joshua Tree downtown. Maybe it's a little larger or smaller, but I'm gonna identify it as where we have the Highway 62 go from 2-lane in each direction with 2-way left-turn lane. Then when you get to certain location like Sunset, everybody bring in Sunset. The minute we get to Sunset, it open up. It doesn't show there's an extra lane, but you can put 4 lanes on each side of the highways. So you can end up with actually, 9 lanes, paved area from curb to curb, and probably take forever for a person to cross from one point to the other, and for whatever reason they need it. And the end, that's on the west end. The east end is as you get in close to called Arreposo Street. This is pretty much the end, what I'm gonna consider the downtown. And looking at that and reviewing certain data, we came up, with the help, like I said, with the local on introducing something, I don't know if you can see it from that far. What we can do is pretty much what we call active transportation and talking about traffic calming. Is to calm the people. Usually this has started about 4 or 5 years ago, studies, and they used to call it road diet. Okay, a lot of people, they didn't like the word diet, they changed it to road calming. So traffic calming on this road. So what we're trying to introduce here, and by the way, this is just an idea that we presented here, and we presented to the MAC meeting. I'm gonna turn it back to the MAC to see it. And I'm here tonight only to show this presentation, and I would like to hear back from the community and from the MAC committee if they are supportive, so we can go ahead and move forward. If not, we have to go back and change. But as of now, I think it's a good deal. For what I heard tonight, a lot of questions, a lot of issues for pedestrians and bicycles on this area. So what we're trying to do is we want to trim part of that existing pavement on both sides of the highway. Let me talk about only the south side right now, and we'll go to the north side. If you notice, we have parking along the curb right there, then we end up with almost, I don't have the distance exactly, but you can you can add 2 extra lanes. If you notice, this is a 2-lane, you can easily add 2 more lanes next to it. So we're gonna go ahead and stripe it and hatch it. Just with striping and hatches, so we can go ahead and eliminate people from driving over that hatch. We might also add some type of delineator to kind of delineate that things, and we're gonna introduce what we call a diagonal parking. That means all these parking that we're gonna have here, we might lose some of them, but we're gonna replace them with the diagonal parking. At the end of the day, you're gonna have more parking available than today. But there's always but to that thing. In some area we cannot fit it because it's too close to the intersection or stuff like that. So we have to squeeze it into certain area. But we're gonna guarantee that existing parking number is gonna actually equal or increase with this kind of proposal. Then between the parallel parking and the number 2 lane is we're gonna introduce what we call a bike lane. Actually, we're gonna have a 5 feet to 6 feet striped bike lane, starting from Sunset all the way to again, I apologize if I'm pronouncing the name wrong, Arreposo Street. And we're gonna do the same thing on the north side. So we're gonna exactly do that, and we're gonna do it with striping, with some pavement marker. I think we're gonna use some of this. I don't know you guys what you call it. We call them channelizer. You guys, some people I heard them call them candlesticks, is what you see in Morongo Valley, that's in the median. We're gonna use some of that kind of like this on the side to delineate these exactly what we're talking about. We're gonna make it as a pilot, and we're gonna check the traffic, and we're gonna check the incidents after that. We wanna work very closely with CHP, with all the local enforcement area to see what the impact, what's the result of that. Is there have a significant enhancement to safety for all users we're talking about, and we're gonna come back and say if it's something that's a need to be a permanent fix, that striping is not gonna hold because we cannot have maintenance come in every 6 months and maintain it. So we're gonna go ahead and introduce a project. What we do is that all these curbs you see here, we're gonna move them and instead of the hatching will become a sidewalk, and that sidewalk we wanna work very closely with the county, try to relinquish this to the county, and the county will be doing this as what we call trottoir. Is actually some word is being used in Europe. It's what you do. You can use that sidewalk as you put a cafe on it. You put your tables. You can like any moms and pops coffee shop, all kind of this entertainment. But as a state, we cannot allow that if it's within our right of way. So we need to work with the county and maybe through the MAC committee, to go through the county and see if we can relinquish that sidewalk so businesses can actually, and have pedestrian walk in very wide areas. And what it does this to you, that's pretty much eliminate almost half of your pedestrian crossing, because a lot of people talking about traffic signals and stuff like that, and I'll touch to that a little bit later. So our purpose is to reduce that crossing forward. Please make sure if you cross, the preferred location is park intersection where you already have a traffic control device, which is traffic signals. You can cross safely. If you don't like, you want to cross in between, you cannot cross between a block. That's illegal. You need to cross an intersection and make sure you look both ways before you do so. I don't want to touch about, I heard a lot of things, but I just want to touch about one thing is, we did not stop Sunset intersection signalization. It's a safety concerns, having two signals close to that spacing. It's gonna create people seeing the green on one side and red on the other. They're gonna blow up the red, and it's gonna be more incident than safer. So that's the reason why we're not pushing for the Sunset. We stopped the Sunset intersection because of the spacing. If that spacing is 1,000 feet, we have no problem. Less than 1,000 feet, data shows there is a problem when your spacing is closer with this, even with a lower speed. Again, I'm okay with this. I'll take questions. If the mayor, can you see it, or do you want me to turn it off for you guys? You guys, okay. I'm open for questions.
Yeah, let me ask you a question now. Based on this, we talked, and you indicated that once this is put in, if it's approved, that it may trigger another survey?
Yes, actually.
And in your experience, what does that survey usually show?
Thank you for reminding me of that. Typically on typical something like that, anytime you do what we call road diet, that's what it does. It shows about 10 to 15 miles reduction of a speed limit automatically. So what we do is right after we do this, we'll give the traffic for about a few weeks to people adjust to it to see how it's operate. Then we'll send our surveying the speed service crews to make a speed surveys. And I cannot guarantee, but the data shows any typical changes like that result in a speed reduction. Yes.
First of all, I want to say, I really want to thank you. I think this is one of the most creative and positive things that I've heard in my 10 years, 15 years, whatever. Really, this is really good. This is really along the lines of what we have been asking for all this time. But I have to get back to that question about the traffic signal, because in every other city, like Yucca Valley, for example, Palm Springs, for example, traffic signals are very close to each other. I don't understand, I mean, I know you have your statistics about the 1,000 feet. I don't understand that. To me, it seems quite logical, and especially when you talk about the reality of our climate, where we have such hot weather, and for people to walk, 1,000 feet is an eighth of a mile. So if you walk 1,000 feet down and then 1,000 feet back, that's a quarter of a mile. And if you're an old person like me, or like you, sir, you really want to walk a quarter of a mile when it's 95 degrees.
Okay, like I said, again.
And you could walk just across the street.
What I'm saying is, there's a rule and regulation. I cannot speak for the city of Yucca Valley. I cannot speak for the city of Palm Springs.
Yes, sir.
What I'm saying is we have a rule and regulation. We have what we call the California MUTCD, is a manual uniform traffic control devices that the federal is mandated us to follow. And in their book says, you shall not have a traffic signals less than 1,000 feet of spacing.
But you're relating it to actual accident rates and everything else. I don't see those accident rates with pedestrians in Palm Springs, where there's a traffic light at every 2 blocks.
We've been, anyway, I have different information, but that's fine. What I'm saying is we do have Palm Springs calling us. We were there actually last month. They have a spike in pedestrian fatalities in that area. For other reason, or maybe that reason I cannot speak up for that, but we're trying to help them too with these issues. Yeah, I'll go back to you. There's a question there first.
I have a question. Rather than traffic signal, can you put the lighted crosswalk in the road and a couple above? They have those on PCH and Laguna Beach. That is a highway that goes right through town, and they seem to work pretty well.
And that's what you do actually, you introduce the marked crosswalks.
Right.
At this point, we believe something like that will want to work first. We don't like to place marked crosswalk. We have one in actually in not too far from you. It's called in 29 Palms. It's called Damascus. Is it? No. It's a marked crosswalk. We have even a flashing. We have a flashing beacon. We have almost 3 fatalities. And that's, like I said, mark a crosswalk give you wrong sense that you think that you can have safe, you think you have a 2-barrier wall against you, by you, it's not, really. If you don't have the eye contact, this is what we're talking about. And actually, to add to the question, to your concerns, if we decide to go with a raised curb median later on, actually this will bulk it more, will make it even tighter, reduce more the speed, and shorten the space of the crosswalk. We'll take the question right here.
She had one.
Sure. Sir, Andre?
The European crosswalk at Park, where you can go diagonally as well as the other directions, they do them in Riverside now. They're amazing.
We have one in I don't know if it does belong to San Diego or Orange County District, is on PCH. That's required a high volumes, and you don't have that in that location. It's required a lot, and it's not easy. You're gonna make red for all. It's gonna queue back. Local, we're gonna complain about it if you don't have the number of pedestrians you need it for that. But we do have them, and they are available. But it's only on you know.
To 2.5 million visitors, we're gonna have that number of pedestrians.
We hope so. We want the businesses everywhere. Yes.
Well, first I want to thank you for bringing something, because something's better than nothing. That, I think it's been for many years that nothing's been happening here. We've all been frustrated, people have been dying, so I'm glad that we're making some progress on this. I just want to ask, are those the actual colors that you're going to use for the painting?
No. This is. I'm gonna. Philip spent almost 24 hours trying to develop that for me. So thank you for that. Yeah. No, the color is not. There is some places now introducing the green color for bike lane. This is something we might look, if it's successful and need more improvement. This is another enhancement that we can add to that later.
Okay, so can I just have a couple things here?
I don't know. It's up to the back how we move. Yes, go ahead.
Traffic calming signs. The CHP is, they have a wagon that they parked over the year, here and there, and seem to have helped. Like what jurisdiction we had talk about trying to do our own fundraising and buy these signs for our community, and so who would have a say, like if we can put up a traffic calming sign and where they would go, and if that's something that our community can raise money for, if there's no funds or get grants for that kind of thing?
You don't need to raise any money. Any traffic calming, you need it. If it's meet the criteria, the state will provide it. And this is part of what I'm saying. This is only what you see is the striping. All the approaches from both sides, there will be enhancement signage to it. There will be more pedestrian signage. Will be a lot of, actually, this is just, like I said, I'm trying to see if this concept is approved, or it's something that the community of Joshua Tree is willing to accept. Then signage, the actual striping will be all follow up with that.
So you determine that it is needed, that something is needed, but you're going to do this project before traffic calming sign, or
I mean, we do have already pedestrian signage on that. I don't know what you need traffic calming sign by that. We cannot tell people slow down. There is a speed limit already there. There is also pedestrian signage on both directions of the highways. So we do have these type of signage. If signage just saying CHP present, that is something the CHP need to be talked about. That's enforcement. I'm talking about signage that need for, if the highway need the sign. If it need, like there is an intersection, there's some intersection have advanced signage, some intersection is not. These are based on data. If the data met, we will provide that signage.
Well, what I'm talking about is those ones where it flashes the speed limit, the radar sign.
Yeah, and like I said, these are needed based on the data only.
So you're saying only state can provide that, so community, if we want to provide it anyway, regardless, you know, you said it'll be provided, but you know, who determines that and all that?
The
So, I mean,
the flex,
we're kind of left in the limbo
okay,
with that.
okay, that's not a traffic calming, or maybe it is, I don't know. The
Oh,
speed,
traffic
the speed radar, what do you call it, the feedback, they call it speed feedback, that one, I think the real terminology for it. This is the state don't do that. This is, you have to go through the county of that, and they have to maintain it, and they have to place it under encroachment permit.
So we would talk to the county, so Caltrans is.
We don't provide that.
No, you don't, I'm not asking for provide.
No, I mean, that's what I'm saying, that's a county, that's a county.
Prove it even if Caltrans says, sorry, you can't.
No, if the county approaches and they're willing to place it and maintain it, we have no problem. We have it in just in 29 pots.
Thomas,
And I have a question from the gentleman here.
yeah, I'll get to that in a second, but, and I hope I'm not giving something away. This is kind of a limited budget issue, project right now. If it falls within a certain dollar amount, it's going to be done very quickly. If it gets to the point or blows up to a point where it's out of that dollar amount, you're talking 3 to 4 years.
Yes, thank you. We
So
have limitations.
this can be done relatively quickly.
Yeah, people are dying, so that's, you know, I think there's some things that could be done a lot.
Okay, so you have to take that in consideration. Yeah. Yeah, it would have to, let me, George, I know you've got a question on that. If it goes over a certain dollar amount, it has to go to bid. If it doesn't go over a certain dollar amount.
Who's reviewing this? This is from Caltrans. We've heard that the county has no jurisdiction, that it's all Caltrans, and now you're coming out saying it has to be reviewed. So what is?
I'm not saying it has to be reviewed, I'm saying that this proposal, if it falls within a certain dollar amount, Caltrans can do it out of their yard rather than go to bid for it, and it takes a lot less time.
Let me explain what Mark is talking about. We have limited funding for up to $25,000 that I can have my maintenance crews come in and do the striping. If you go over that 25, the state mandate me to go ahead and use a contractor to do it. Let me finish. So you mandated to go to bidding, you have to hire, you have to do a plan, you have to have an engineering stamp in the plan, you have to do all these steps, you have to go through an environmental document, you have to do all the studies, then you have to also put it for bid, and you have to have a contractor come do it. This progress, and actually also $25,000 I'm flexibility, I have the money, I'm flexible. If I go over that, then I have to go through my budget and find a year to deliver that budget, and that may take 2-3 years for that. And I mean, if the money available at that time.
When you're turning from Sunset onto the highway, nothing is going to be done about those terrible sightlines.
Okay, I don't know what you're talking about, we'll get to that.
Well, it's
Sir,
your road.
Okay.
I mean, we only live here, it's your road.
I don't know what you're talking about, sir, about the blind side. We can clear this one up, but if I don't know the exact information you're talking about.
He lives here too.
Go ahead, sir.
Discussion going back and forth. I have a question over here.
I don't have a clue what you're talking about. Maybe after the meeting we can talk. Okay.
That's what I'm talking
Lib, you had a question?
Yes, is this including ADA, handicap parking and?
Okay, you know what? This is not in here, all right? This is not in here. We're not gonna be touching the curb. If we touch the curb, we're outside. We have another project, is actually right now doing the environmental document. They are rehabbing all 62 from, I believe, from Morongo Valley all the way to almost 29 Palms. That will include all the ADA ramps with it, okay? So it's coming, but it's not part of the project. Let me have this gentleman have his hands up.
I'm curious on your bike transitions from where this would terminate, the trial would terminate on the bike lane to either east or west of that, then it would just, there would be nothing there?
That will be end up as it is today, share the road or on the shoulders, okay? There is that one.
Yes, sir. I want to say thank you again for this. This is a big step forward, but clearly we need to talk with you and with County Public Works about longer-term, more complicated solutions for some of these intersections. And that brings me back to my public comment earlier about grant money available from the Fed, the state, the county, and nonprofits and everything like that, but we can't apply for anything until we have a project identified. Sunset and Highway 62 is a very dangerous intersection. this is not going to help very much with that. I appreciate the diagonal parking on both sides and that you're narrowing the drive path. But frankly, Sunset is not going to be fixed with these solutions. Medians and other traffic calming devices, and I'm sorry, I disagree with you about whether a crosswalk will be effective. I think it would be highly effective, even if it's not a traffic light to protect it. And also El Raposo, at the end of your line here, downtown goes a little bit further than that, but El Raposo is another dangerous intersection where pedestrians are struck all the time. I shouldn't say all the time, very frequently. It's a very dangerous crossing. People do it because the traffic light is too far, and as George pointed out, it's not just the heat, it's that much out of direction travel that it takes a long time to walk that distance, and so people are tempted, and they do cross where there is no protection, even though it's legal to do so at both of those corners. And again, I would ask about possibly, stay within your budget for this paint project, that's great. But then let's come back to the table with you and County Public Works if we can, to talk about better solutions for these areas, including possible medians. The block between Sunset and Park Boulevard, there are illegal U-turns all the time, and that increases a lot of hazardous activity and a lot of hazardous situations. And if there's a median there, that's going to cut down on that a lot. And then there are other solutions as well.
So let me.
But again, we need you guys
Okay.
to come to the table and talk with us about these solutions so we can work out these projects so we can apply to
Okay.
practice.
Let me just clarify for everybody. What you're saying is pretty much you have issues with all these turn and movement all along. You want to pretty much restrict it to certain locations. Is that what you pretty much say? And provide this as a safe haven. Could be also included in the striping. I would really like to hear that from. But definitely, if we do so, then you're going to be limited to only a left turn here, a left turn here, and a left turn here. That's what I'm saying. Is that something the community is willing to work with? We can add it to this project, I think, with the striping. And ultimately, maybe later on when we go for the second phase, we can pretty much even introduce a race curb median and do so. But what it does gonna be impacting is like what I hear a lot of people, like say, oh, I wanna make also U-turn here, or left turn here, I wanna make a left turn here. So either you have to agree, and this spacing has to be reasonable. Usually, like what we're doing in Morongo Valley, we're doing it almost every 2,000 feet. We don't have to go that far here, but we have to be reasonable. We cannot have race curb median and open every single block. So this is coming. I don't have to have an answer today. Just something to think about. We can add it later because it's not going to be part of the, Yeah, I'll be.
Okay, let us be clear. You're representing District 8 of Caltrans, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This project, even though it's an improvement for downtown Joshua Tree, it's not perfect. Have you had input from the Chamber of Commerce of Joshua Tree? And also, does it fit into the community plan of Joshua Tree?
Okay, that's what I'm here tonight, sir. I'm introducing, like I said, I'm introducing to the MAC committee and some of you here to make comments on it. If you believe it's not gonna work, you know more than I do your area, how your circulation you believe inside the city. If it's something that you think is gonna hurt your businesses, is not gonna help your safety along the corridor, please speak out, let your MAC committee knows, and we're expecting something from the MAC to of the feedback back to us, to Caltrans, to see if we're gonna move forward or not with that. Yes.
Would it be possible, with all of the Joshua Tree community talking about grants and funding from other places, along with your beautiful parking and things that you've done there, could there be a pedestrian bridge that goes across that would not conflict with?
Yes.
If there was funding from somewhere else, then it would impact the budget.
You're right, there is, but the pedestrian bridge need to also meet a number of pedestrian crossing. At this point, you might not have it in this area, but if it's met, I don't know the numbers of that. If it's met, definitely but how you build it and where you build it is all based on, it has to be a traffic studies and it shows the number of the pedestrian crossing.
So who would approve pedestrian bridge? Caltrans?
Caltrans.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so this is great, it's a nice start. It's a test, right? You're doing a test to see about restricting the flow and dropping the speed, putting in cones and doing something you can do right immediately for us. And see how that works and study it in order to make a better thing before you put it in permanent.
It's been already, there's a federal studies already. There's a lot of towns, a lot of areas been implemented. So far, all the results shows a positives, has come as a lot of businesses actually even liked it because it does slow people down, have more window shopping stuff they call it, whatever, you know, the terminology for it. It does also include the parking. So like I said, I don't want to call it a test, it's a pilot for this area. Okay, because this type of design is already being tested by the federal, and that's what I'm saying, it's a pilot for this area.
It's not a permanent thing, once we say do this and that's the way it's gonna be, we can make adjustments.
This is, like I said, as long as the adjustment meet our standards, yeah, definitely. There is a question here, I'll come back to you, sir, yeah.
I want to say thank you very much. We were in a state of reaction over the fatalities, and this, I think, is absolutely wonderful because it's narrowing where the cars are. And with those other old right turn lanes, everybody was going faster to get around, and it was so many cars going so fast that I think that even the people that don't understand they have to go across a crosswalk, I think this is going to make it to where they're not at as much risk as they were before you do this. And so I really want to thank you for putting this in. It's like an emergency situation, and I feel like you guys are going to do something. And thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
My question would be, is you have a suggested speed limit going through this, or you're hoping that it's still 45 and that the 15 to 20 or 15 to 10 miles per hour less is just going to be out of the safety-mindedness of the claustrophobia going through a narrow area?
Like I said, sir, the state is mandated to follow what we call the 85th percentile of the driving public. So I can go ahead and do tomorrow's studies, and if it shows whatever it shows, we have to post it. But like I told you, as been used in different locations, when you introduce something like that, it shows whatever the speed is go down by average of 10 miles per hour. So we're hoping that after we do this, we'll have like I said, after a couple of weeks or 3-4 weeks after that, we'll have our crew come here, do the speed surveys, and hopefully we'll see the changes. It's not a guarantee, like I said, but we believe it's going to happen. That's based on the studies.
Yeah, I will work on setting up a line of communication between the community input and Caltrans. So we'll work on that, and we'll try to get people together. Or we can, do you have your card here? They can send comments straight to you, or we can set up some kind of a committee to do that?
That's what I have my best lady here with me, Terry Kasinga. She's our public PIO office chief. Please, she'll leave her card. You have her cards? She'll leave her cards up front, so any contact, please contact her, and we'll
Celeste? Pardon? George?
Oh, thank you. I just have to get back to the question first. First of all, I just want to apologize. I was not attacking you. I really do. My earlier remarks, this is great.
No problem.
Considering, everything that we've been fighting for. My next remarks are to the MAC and to you, Mark, as the field rep. I need to know, I think not just me, but the community needs to know what the process is. I mean, where does this stand? Mike Lipsitz is here. I mean, I think your article today that I read on Facebook said that this presentation was going to be about left turn lanes on Highway 62. Am I right? I don't think there was anything in here about downtown striping. Am I correct, Mike?
Well, that's
Right.
remains to be seen.
What's that?
So it remains to be seen whether they respond about justice or not.
Oh, okay, but anyway, this wasn't publicized, that's my point. So, you know, the community really, this is a big surprise to me and to everybody, and really, there could have been 4 times as many people at this meeting if we had known it was going to concern these downtown issues. And as I say, I'm addressing this to the MAC. So, going forward, we need to, I think, really, you know, this is Joshua Tree. You know how we work here. And, you know, there's a lot of interested parties here. I don't see, other than Celeste, I don't really see any downtown businesses represented, you know? Well, maybe 1 or 2. But, you know, where's, you know?
We've got about 8 people here, whether they live downtown or not, George, that are interested in it, and they made comments on it. Everybody, yeah. Good, good. I'm glad to hear that.
What is the process? How does this get approved? I mean, you have the budget, so I just don't get it. So you come up with this idea, and now you want feedback. So how do we give feedback other than just, you know, we need to have a better presentation.
Okay.
Is this on the
Let me, Mr. Moore, can I volunteer something? Okay, okay. You know, first of all, I want to say happy Valentine to everybody. I brought my wife with me because I didn't know what to do. She's in the back with me. So I'm willing to come back again. If you say you want to have a meeting with the Chamber of Commerce, I have no problems. If you can schedule a meeting with the Chamber of Commerce for the downtown of Joshua Trees, please let Terry's know, and we'll come back and we'll introduce this.
It's the MAC.
Okay.
The
No.
MAC has to be the pivot here.
Any.
They have to respond for the
Okay.
community and
All right.
the agencies like
All right.
Caltrans and Public Works.
All right, Caltrans is available at any time for anything for this project right now to move forward if we got the support of the community. That's all I can say.
I just would like to make I would just like to make a comment from Morongo Valley. I don't know how long ago it was, but they put the delineators in to get us started, to see if something would work in Morongo Valley. And since the delineators have been in, we have not had one head-on collision in the valley. So now, Caltrans is going to do a more permanent project with raised medians, I think they're called.
Right.
And they're going to be starting that, and they're going to be putting a light at Bella Vista. So this might just be the beginning of a process to get something started, and then you can have more input once this is there. It's just something to see if that will help. And it sure, what they did really did help in Morongo Valley tremendously.
Well, this is great, and this is the type of feedback that we need to have at a well-publicized community meeting where this plan is discussed.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Here's the plan. We're gonna leave this here. And wherever you guys need to post it, Mark, you guys can work something out in the post office, a fire station, anywhere where people can have access to it. We'll contact the newspaper, we'll contact the radio station, whatever you guys can do to help us get the word out that this is a plan that we're doing. I don't know that I want to do a press release about this, because then people think that this is going to happen. What we wanted to do tonight was come out here and give this to you and tell you this is what we'd like to do. We would like to get the community's input. We're not ready to move on this until we get more than 30 people who think they might like it. I get what you're saying. So how often is your MAC? Every month?
Second Monday of every month,
So
except for August and December.
So we will come back here next month and we'll give the community 1 month to talk about it, for the MAC to send out emails to the businesses. In that meantime, Mark, if anybody can set up a meeting with the chamber, we would love to come out here and sit down and talk with them, like we've done with him and other communities. We had 2 or 3 meetings in Morongo, letting them know that a project was even coming. And this was already pretty much designed and a lot of changes happened. But it took us 2 or 3 meetings coming out to Max and having our own community meetings at least 2 years ago before we're even ready to build the job. I know we'd like to see this happen quicker, so we're gonna need the cooperation from the community. Take these ideas back home with you, spread the word, we'll leave this here. We'll work with Mark on somewhere we can get it posted, and we'll talk with the MAC about who we can talk to. In the interim, we definitely need to meet with the chambers. We need to meet with the CHP. We need to meet with our other agency partners to talk about this also.
Yep.
So, pardon? No, nobody has even seen this except for Mark and you here tonight. We don't typically put stuff like this online because it's not a project that we're building. But it's something that we could do. Have a website here in town, a local blog or a website that we could send you the plan and you could get it posted here.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be glad to host any meetings you'd like with business owners and people that are vested in the downtown area.
Yeah, I know.
Chamber of Commerce would be a great one to do that. So I will set up that meeting. I got to tell you that I think I've discussed it with some of the MAC members before the meeting, and I think everybody on the MAC is all for this project with some community input. Yes, Celeste?
Yes, Mark, thank you. How about a public meeting, not just Chamber of Commerce or business
We
owners?
could do
How
that.
about a public meeting where this is presented and openly discussed?
Well,
As
that's-
George said, this is a surprise to everybody and was not part of the agenda and not part of anything that we discussed tonight. And I think a lot more people.
It is part of the agenda, not this particular. Okay. I would be glad to do that, Celeste. I can have another public meeting here, but I would need Caltrans involved in that again. I can't answer a lot of those questions. Okay? Would you be willing to come back out for another public meeting, Terry?
Oh, we are definitely open to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Give me a timeline on this thing so we can plan something. How long do you think you need to digest this? I'm going to take that back to my office. I can post it outside the office. I'm not going to put it out in the public someplace where it can get destroyed or stolen. It's going to have to be under some kind of security.
What's the timeline for if it's approved and then getting it to, like, how much, what's
Okay.
the timeline for getting it done?
Yeah, like I said, this is just a little drawing. It's like you draw on your napkin in a restaurant. So there's nothing there. We still have to do little thoughts on it to make sure everything is okay. The spacing, all the angles, and all the signage. Somebody brought up, I think you or the gentleman who was sitting next to you, about the signage calming and traffic calming all around. That has to be all packaging together. And then what we do is we wanna get a final price on this. If that's within my budget for maintenance, I have to elevate it to my maintenance deputy and see when we can schedule, go ahead and install it and order the sign. Usually the sign take about 3-4 months to get ordered. But like I said, it's gonna be a period, but we need to get a green light, and it seems like from here, I'm hearing a lot of positive. You know, there is still question about it, but what I'm hearing today, we also contacted Mr. Cook's office too, to let him know that we're coming here tonight. So hopefully he will see it too and get some feedback from his staff. So as long as we don't see a major thing saying, no, this is a disaster, we're gonna keep moving forward. I will move a little bit slower right now until we're in the next month meeting, and hopefully by that, if I get the thumbs up on it, we'll just go ahead and full blown, and hopefully, I'm hoping that we'll have this in the summer if I got within the budget that I can afford.
So you're just looking for initial comments right now, and you're gonna refine it a little bit more, and then will it start?
You know, there's a lot of thoughts has to be going with it. Should we be doing the diagonal parking? Which side you have to do diagonal parking? How the diagonal parking interact with the bicycles behind it? These kind of things, we have some expert, they have some feedback. We will hear something from CHP, from sheriffs, about how you need to control it, what the spacing you needed, how big is the island need to be. These kind of things need to be some details on it. We don't want to spend time on it because, you know, if our staff spend that much time on it, you know, and we don't end up somewhere, it's a waste of state money, you know. So let's get saying, go for it, and we'll go ahead and put a couple engineers and whatever needed to go ahead and get the perfect project for you. We don't want to put something there that we say, oops, we made a mistake here. No, we want to put something that we're gonna be living with, like Gail brought up, that we live, how long, 3 years, 2 years with channelizing up there? Yeah, you know, we used to have, how many? We used to have, before we put them, there was like 14 fatality in that stretch of highway. So far, we have 0, thanks God, and hopefully we don't have anything after that. So this is what we're hoping, this is what we're aiming for.
Terry, what's your timeline in coming back to that, Mac? Do you want to throw this around for the next month and come back the next
Yes,
meeting?
I think we'll schedule the next month, it's the Monday, you said?
Yes,
Yeah.
second Monday of next month,
Okay,
yes.
so I'll have Terry, coordinator. Yeah. Any group, Mark, you feel that they need to be some feedback, give us some information, let us know, give us a couple days ahead.
I will.
We can drive to here and.
I will ask a couple of the MAC members. We can't have more than 5 in a meeting. That would constitute a quorum. So anybody, one of the MAC members can absolutely volunteer. And Mary Helen may want to come in. She's from basically the Joshua Tree area. And we'll get some community people that want to chime in, and we'll go from there.
Yes. How firm is your estimate that this is going to be $25,000? Because I'm thinking about the costs of, stopping the traffic while you're doing the striping and everything else. Can this actually be done, what you propose?
Are you gonna help me or not? Come on, I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best here, so I know.
But I don't want it, we've been disappointed so
Okay.
many times by government agencies coming to us and
Okay.
promising
Jo-
us things and then
It's-
pulling the rug out.
It's a George, right?
Yes,
George.
I'm George.
I got your name. What I'm saying is, to be honest with you, I did not share it. I did not do all these calculations on the cost yet because the problem is it's all, the engineer costs us about $50 a day. An hour. You do that, you're gonna spend. I don't want to waste this money. I don't want to say waste it. I don't want to invest this money if I don't see I'm gonna go that direction. Okay, if I get that direction, if I get to around the 25,000, I do have hopefully the support of my management on these issues, and I already got my support of the person I needed in my management, saying go meet with the Joshua Tree community and get their feedback. If they're okay with it, let me know. We'll see what we can do. Okay, there's multiple steps of a program. If I don't get the 25, there is what we call there is a $291,000. That's usually about a year and a half. Okay, so I don't want to get that far. I want to get something sooner. I want to see something on the ground as soon as possible. I might be reducing some stuff later on just to keep it with that cost. I hope I don't do that. I want to get the right project all for you guys. That's my plan. So please help me with that. Take it back, think about it, review it. If you see any fatal flaws, please bring it up. We don't want to put something there and we regret it, all of it. So that's all what I need to. I don't know if there is no. Okay.
Yeah, you were talking about, I'm a little confused. You were talking about lane closures in March. Is that the widening of the highway and the center lane? Is that this totally different subject?
That's completely different project. They cannot be overlapping together because they are a contractor and they have the responsibility, liability also when they work on our state highway.
This is still way down the road.
No. This is even within the same area, but they're not working here. So we can go ahead and exclude the area and do. So if I can get the striping ready and move it, I can still go with that. So I don't have to wait for that. Because they're not widening here, they're widening on either side of that location.
Right, so, if you got the okay and then you were gonna consult engineering and all that, what's your time period for being able to get?
Like I said, my goal is sometimes toward the end of summer.
Okay.
That's my goal, but we don't know.
If we can agree.
Uh,
I have a question to the chair, Mark Lindquist. Since he's a representative of Joshua Tree community. Was the public in Joshua Tree involved with any of this?
As far as this project goes? No. They called me in on last week well, let's put it this way. They did run it by me, absolutely. It was last Friday. And I said, they were asking to bring it by. This is all preliminary, Al. Nothing's set in stone yet. Please, let's give us a chance to improve our downtown. Okay?
We're talking about $4.7 million.
Quit picking through the pepper and let's get down to business. Thank you.
Social media. Everybody has been posting on Joshua Tree Community Connection, on this connection, on that connection. Caltrans is going to be at the MAC meeting. They're going to talk about 62. It's a done deal. Hey, why don't we all go there and talk about downtown Joshua Tree? Hey, come to the MAC meeting. Caltrans is going to be there. You didn't really care, excuse me. Nobody really cared that they were going to talk about 62. Everybody wanted to come and lambaste them about downtown Joshua Tree. Well, now here they have a plan. They heard you. They saw it in writing, and they thought, you know what? Let's just get to the chase. And 62 is going to be widening. That's it. They're going to be here, and they're giving you something. It's like, we made this up quickly. He said it was on a napkin. We got something a little better than a napkin. I think it's wonderful. We got their attention. You got Caltrans' attention. They're willing to do something. They've got some money they can spend. It's not going to cost us. We're starting. I think it's wonderful. My opinion only.
Thank you. Couldn't have said it better myself. Any other questions? Okay, we'll move forward with the project then. Thank you. Let me change that, Celeste. We'll move ahead with the review. Is that better?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay, on to item J. Thank you very much, Caltrans, for coming out. Are you going to leave that one for me? Okay, reports by members of the MAC. Don?
Dawn Johnson, Landers Rep. The Landers Association meeting was held on Saturday, February 11th. Barbara Harris did a presentation on Giant Rock, the Integratron. Sorry.
Quiet, everybody.
All right, is that, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Yeah? Okay. The Landers Association meeting was held on Saturday, February 11th. Barbara Harris did a presentation on Giant Rock, the Integratron, and a lot of previously unpublished research on Frank Kritzer, Charlie Ricci, and George Van Tassel, and how they were connected. Barbara Harris's website is www.giantrockproject.com if you're interested in looking up some more information. I'm intrigued with that, Giant Rock and Integratron, so I think that was really cool. Let's see, another tire roundup is tentatively scheduled for Saturday, April 15th. We will be confirming this date with the county. It's possible that it will also be an electronic waste cleanup as well. Excuse me. The Homestead Valley Community Council has scheduled a 2017 poker run on Saturday, April 29th. And the Landers Association will be serving lunch to the participants. And time will be confirmed later. Let's see, the Landers Thrift Store is doing quite well. If you are in the process of decluttering your living environment, please consider donating your goods to the Landers Thrift Store. The hours are Saturdays from 10 to 2. Let's see, Belfield Hall is available for rent if you're looking for a place to hold events. The hall has recently been painted and improvements continue to be made. Cost to rent is $35 an hour for non-members and $25 an hour for members. The official email address for the Landers Association is landers.LC@gmail.com. And let's see, the next Landers Association meeting is Saturday, March 11th at 3 p.m. at Belfield Hall. A corned beef and cabbage dinner will be served, including Irish soda bread. Dinner is free for paid members and $5 for non-members. There was a question last month regarding the Landers Dump proposed expansion. And it was in regards to if there was a CEQA requirement. And I did find an answer to that, and the answer is yes, there was a CEQA requirement, and an environmental impact report has been conducted in 2015. let's see. And then one other issue, I already spoke to Mark about this, but I'm going to bring it up. It has been brought to my attention from a concerned resident of Landers that a street sign is missing off of Ricci Road, and it's Dakota Street. Right now, currently, there is a makeshift sign in place. And I was kind of driving up and down Ricci Road. I'm noticing a few signs are missing. And I just don't think that's safe, for emergency, especially for emergency purposes. So I was asking Mark about how to go about fixing this situation, and he sent me a link from the County of Public Works, and it's to fill out an application. So I will be posting that if you guys are members on the Landers MAC page on Facebook. I will be posting that link so that we can get as many people to fill out this application so that we can see about getting some of these signs put up in their proper places so that it would be easier for any emergency response teams or anything like that, for them to be able to assist our residents. And that's all I've got.
Hi, I'm Teresa Seitz from Wonder Valley. We didn't have a meeting last month, or this month, so it's going to be short. We had, unfortunately, a fatality on Amboy last Thursday night. We lost Nikos Lukaris, who was killed, and he leaves behind his wife, Rosie, and many friends, many grieving friends who loved him. And I didn't think about asking you to adjourn in his memory, but if we could, the community would really appreciate it. And that's all I have. Thanks.
And since I've been ill, I haven't been to any of the meetings for Flamingo Heights, and I will not be coming to some of these meetings in the future, for just a short time, hopefully.
Joshua Tree, something will be coming up, and I can't reveal it all, in the Board of Supervisors next month. Which has to do with, I think, another win for Joshua Tree. It looks like we're on our way to getting another grant for the bicycle lanes. We got one grant to design a system. To hire another consultant to design a system. That grant was successful. This next grant looks like it is successful. It'll go before the board next month. And this is actually to design an active transportation system. We were told that the grant was approved, and all it has to do is go through the board. It's gone through what they call a SCAG council to be approved. That's done, and it'll go before the board next month to be approved. And what that allows us to do is design a complete system. And once that system's designed basin-wide, including the cities and the park, then we can go out to bid. We have an active transportation proper system. We can go out for a bid and start building this system. And this ties right into what we're doing tonight. And that's why, one of the reasons I was involved in doing that, is trying to tie these systems together. The Crisis Center is on tomorrow's agenda. The bid has been awarded to a contractor, or will be, and also they're going to declare a negative declaration for CEQA. That looks like it's moving ahead nicely, so hopefully they'll be moving forward on that as soon as the board approves it, and you'll probably see breaking ground in a couple of months for that. So I think that's pretty exciting. We're finally going to get a facility for people that really need the help. And as far as that goes, that's it for Joshua Tree. Thank you.
Gail Swart, Morongo Valley. We just got our new fire truck. Yay! And everyone is invited to the firehouse on Ocotillo Street at 10 a.m. on Saturday if they'd like to see it and sit in it and look at it. The guys are going crazy. They're so happy. They're taking all the equipment from the old engine and putting it in the new one, and it's really beautiful, and it's finally come to our community. So we're very happy. We got a FEMA grant, and we had some money ourselves that we had to put in, and we now have a new fire engine that's made for dirt roads. It's got a heavy-duty chassis. It has some special things that will make it last a long time on our mostly dirt roads. The other thing is I'm part of the Emergency Community Response Team, CERTS, and we're taking classes. We have classes every other Saturday from 9 till 4. because we want to have our own team in Morongo Valley. And I would encourage any of you that are interested in not only, helping yourself or helping your neighbors or helping your community to get involved in the CERT team, because we're learning so many things that will be valuable to us if there's an emergency like an earthquake and there aren't a lot of other people around to help. In Morongo Valley, we have, 3 guys on duty in our fire station and 1 paramedic. And if we're cut off, we're going to need each other. And you learn so many great things in this program. And any community can have a CERT team and can get this training. So I encourage people, if they're interested, let me know and I'll turn you on to the person to talk to. It's really great. We've been having a really good time and learning a lot.
What does CERT stand for?
Citizens Emergency Response.
What does CERT stand for?
Community Emergency Response Team.
And I apologize, I forgot one thing. On the 20th of this month, which is what, a week from today, we're having a veterans, we're celebrating veterans at thank you, at this community center from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's for the veterans, and they're going to, hopefully they'll bring their DD-214s, and they'll be doing claims processing, follow-up on the veterans, healthcare, screening, housing, and career opportunities, veteran ID cards, veterans, women's services, disabled American veterans services. And the supervisor will be here from 10 to 3, so stop by the community center here.
With all due respect, it's not here, it's at the VFW.
No, it's here. You got the wrong flyer. Sorry.
All right, well, I got the
Yeah.
one that was distributed.
It was distributed incorrectly, and a new one went out shortly after that, and it was on Facebook, hopefully, too. It's right here. The VF turned out to be too small, so we moved it over here, okay? So please join us next Monday.
Well, that was wrong. Copper Mountain Mesa, the breakfast at our community center, the beginning of the month was 90 adults, 1 or 2 children. That was really good. We're doing a lot. It's a lot of eggs, it's a lot of dishes. But it's supporting the center, and that's good. Bingo goes up and down, but it's the first Tuesday of every month. If you're not doing anything, glad you guys are back. Come on out in March. Big news for us, anyway, is it is called the proposed service charge increase for the amount of service that is being charged on your property taxes. There are 2,051 parcels in the Copper Mountain Mesa area. There's 91.71 miles, and the ballots have gone out hoping for everybody's yes to increase the $20 per year that you pay on your property taxes to $60 a year, which turns out to be about $5 a month, and that will get us, our roads will be graded twice a month, I believe, and then we'll have money for emergency services. So that's what we're hoping anyway. And so the ballots have went out, the supervisors approved it, the ballots got sent out, and they are due back by, I believe, by the end of March, and they're to be counted and certified by the beginning of May. So they hit the property taxes that come out in October. So vote yes. Yes.
91.7 miles that will be.
91.71 miles is in the Copper Mountain Mesa area, which, excuse me, I should be calling it CSA 70 Zone R19. So 2,051 parcels, 91.71 miles. For those of you who are interested, the boundaries are to the north, it's Moon. To the south, it's La Brisa or Old Chisholm. On the west is Border, and on the east is Shoshone.
So that's all 91 miles will be maintained.
Correct. No. Yes. No, they won't. They're going to prioritize. I mean, you can't, it's not going to maintain all the roads. They'll prioritize what's needed and maintain them on priority basis.
The reason that I asked.
I understood it different, but that's.
No, the reason I ask is that there's a map of county-maintained roads in CSAs, and it does not include all the roads in a CSA.
when you Google, when you go to the county and you go to CSA 70 zone R19, and it goes to the county website, it has a little map of where Copper Mountain is. It tells you what the borders are, and it says 91.71 miles. All of those parcel owners are being asked for the $60 per year. And it's not a CSA, it is a, excuse me, it is a, I hate that word, it's an R-U-R-A-L, I don't recognize that word. I know, I'm sorry, I don't know why, I'm really off, I don't hate it. I had a tough time with that word, so I'm sorry about that. Anyway, our roads, all of the roads will be touched, they won't be all touched twice a month, but they will all be touched, George. That's the way I understand it.
And my understanding is different. I mean, mind you, I think that what they're proposing is okay.
Right.
Meaning they're gonna do the heavy use roads will get priority, but I don't think that there was ever any proposal to grade every dirt road in that CSA. I don't think it's possible. I don't think they have the manpower or any, I don't think it was ever proposed to do that. But they will get the main thoroughfares. That's the important thing. And my question earlier to the fire chief was, you know, in terms of response times, I mean, that's the main thing, to get those main roads, Winters and Coyote Valley and Sonora and all those roads. But it's a good thing. We're all gonna vote for it.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah, want to take a look at this when you get a chance? It's got primary and secondary roads
Okay.
on it. No, it's not, I'm sorry, it's not every single, it's not every single little road. The roads that they're not doing do have the signs that say not maintained, like the road that I'm on says not maintained.
Even
And
Coyote Valley has that sign, you know, and that's the main thoroughfare to get up from 60. So it says right there, not maintained by county. It's a complicated issue. It
Yeah.
really is, you know, that's why we've been working so hard for this thing. Yeah.
Thanks.
Exactly.
Vote yes.
Okay. For Pioneer Town, since the last community plan meeting in November, we have successfully expanded the boundaries for the community plan. Initially, it was just really Main Street and the immediate area. We're now called the Pioneer Town Communities, and included in that will be Gamma Gulch, Rimrock, and Pipes Canyon, which is most of the 92268 zip code. Many thanks to Mark for helping with that, and also to Dave Miller, who was very active in pushing for that. Most important information I have for you is there will be a pound cake bake-off at the post office on the 24th. Everybody's welcome. Let me see if this... Okay. These don't always work. Desert Heights doesn't have pancake bake-off. We don't have meetings. We're not organized like that. But what I've been working on, those of us who are downwind from solar power plants in Joshua Tree Basin have experienced a lot of fugitive dust as the winds blow from the Cascade Solar and the Lear Avenue Solar, et cetera. And these are not measured by the Air Quality Management District. So I've been getting together information so that it'll be possible to approach the Air Quality Management District with this information, because they don't believe me. But the fact is, there's no monitors. And they base their air quality management down here on Victorville. Yeah, it does make a lot of sense, but The county also needs to be informed that our soils are a sand transport path that is 140 miles long, and they're not aware of that either. So I've been doing a lot of research, and I've written it up, and it will be published in the Desert Report in the March issue, and then we have it all in one place with references, et cetera, and can go forward from there.
Okay, with that, any other business? I guess not. We're adjourned. Thank you all for coming.